You're watching CHCO TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the January 2026 regular council meeting for the municipality of Eastern Charlotte. I'm Florence Mitchell. In today's meeting, council will move to borrow $934,000 over a 15-year term for a new fire truck. Council will also move to approve the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership Program for 2027 to 2031. Councillor Hatt will bring a piece of communication to Council, and Councillor Tidd will move to authorize OnGlobe to obtain flow and distribution data on the Blacks Harbor water system and to report the findings to Council. Now let's join Council at Macadavic Place in St. George.
I will now call the meeting to order. It's 7 p.m. here at Macadamic Place, St. George. And good evening and welcome to the January 2026 regular council meeting for the Eastern Charlotte Council. I welcome all those that are attending tonight. Tonight we have Florence Mitchell from CHCO in the back. Vicki Hogarth is doing the camera tonight. Amy Carter is taking notes tonight. And before I begin, I'd just like to take the opportunity to, on behalf of council and the residents, a huge thank you to the Eastern Charlotte Fire and Rescue for this past month on two things. One, it was a beautiful fireworks display in Black Sabbath on New Year's Eve that could have been seen all over Charlotte County. Well done to the fire department. And number two, the quick response to the fire here in St. George on January the 4th. If it wasn't for your response and professional work, this fire would have been much worse. So I want to thank the Eastern Charlotte Fire Department for their continued professional work. At this point, council, I'm looking for an adoption of the agenda tonight. I need a motion for that. Councilor Dederakis.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda
Yep.
to include a discussion on the Blacks Harbor Water Communications Subcommittee terms of reference.
Okay, you want what now? I have to, this is something new you say you want added to?
Oh, no, we discussed it at our committee of a whole meeting, just to let everyone know what's going on. There were some council members that were not present at the meeting, and this could be an opportunity for them to share their opinions on this draft.
Just to be specific, what did you want to add to the agenda?
I'd like to add a discussion item
Okay.
for the Blacks Harbor Water Communications Subcommittee terms of reference.
Okay, the best idea for that would be to add it to the councilor's comments at the end.
I would say new business, Your Worship.
But usually we don't, these meetings, we don't have just discussions. We actually have a motion and then discussion, so.
But there is an item on the agenda that is for discussion this evening, and it's for the communication.
And that isn't correct, so I have to make sure that's corrected tonight. There's no discussions unless there's a motion on the floor. That's the way these are public meetings, so and so, but if you can leave it for your councilor's comments if you like.
So if we say hypothetically, just so I understand, so we're all on
Yeah.
the same page, say hypothetically, I make the motion to accept this agenda as is. There's still an item on the agenda to discuss communications by Councilor Hadd.
Yeah, that one, I have to correct it to follow the procedure bylaw, and there can't be discussion at this meeting tonight unless there's a motion on the floor. There has to be a motion on the floor for any type of discussion.
So there can't be an item just to discuss and
No.
it's only, so you, just around the same, you can't just simply discuss an item.
no,
There has
no,
to be a motion to pass something, is that what it is?
That's correct, yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
correct?
if you want something brought up, pardon me, the committee of the whole meeting, that's where discussions should be made. And so if you want discussions, that's the proper place. This meeting tonight is a formal meeting of council where we pass things. If you want to try to pass something, you certainly can make a motion to do that, as long as you have a seconder, but, or you want to make comments, the comments have to be made during a motion. Just trying to follow the procedural bylaw.
And that's correct, Jason?
Certainly, this is the business meeting.
Yeah.
Should be motions made, moving things forward, discussions with, business, with the committee of the whole meetings, but we have in the past.
Yeah, we have in the past, yeah, exactly. But that was incorrect, you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
Should be some business, but
Okay.
we have items.
Comment on that then, Your Worship. So there was actually a motion that was made to start this subcommittee. So I would think that I made that motion, and I know that very well. I can get you the date and time for that. So why would that not be continued under old business and be giving an update of where we are and some of the questions?
Yeah, that's a possibility. This is nothing new. So yeah, absolutely, you could do that under old business for sure. Yeah, so why don't we add that to old business, if you'd like to do.
So I'd like to amend the motion, I'd like to amend the agenda under old business to include discussions on Blacks Harbor Communications Subcommittee terms of reference.
Sure, yep. Yeah, and what I'll do, Councilor, is I'll go to you first on that. So we have a motion on the floor to accept the agenda tonight with old business added with the Black Cyber Water Committee, I guess is. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any question or comment? Is Councilor Tid? No, yeah, Councilor, yeah. No, okay. Any other questions or comments on that motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Okay. Okay, this brings us to number 3, the conflict of interest disclosure. This is your opportunity to disclose your any conflict of interest. If there's none, I'll move ahead to the adoption of the minutes. I need a motion. What's council's? What would you like council to do with that tonight?
That motion, Your Worship?
Yep, sure.
I move to approve the minutes as circulated for members of council for December 16th, December 17th, January 6th, and January 13th.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Councilor Hatt and seconded by Deputy Mayor Hatt. Question or comment? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And yes, passing unanimously. That brings us to, there are nothing, that brings there. Department reports tonight. I'm going to go to the general government report, and I'll call on the CAO for the government report.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the general government report for the month of December, finance and AR, the job postings for administrative assistant front desk remains open, and a posting for casual laborers for black cyber work is also open. We are exploring the use of a second office space on the second floor of the post office in St. George for non-public facing staff. Foreman will attend leadership training in January, and HR has started an annual performance reviews with staff. Water wastewater on Globe has completed engineered flushing plan for Black Cyber water system. There are hopes to conduct a partial flushing prior to the holidays. However, there are delays on sourcing the required flushing equipment, so flushing was postponed until early spring. Well, exploration is still scheduled over the next months, pending Province of New Brunswick approvals. Staff is working terms of reference for the subcommittee for the communications of the Black Cyber water projects. For St. George, the 2 IVA projects being conducted by CBCL, well development and the sewage lagoon expansion are underway. I have asked for them to come and give the council update as well, so they'll be scheduling that. The lagoon expansion is looking at the need for a new or expanding of our current lagoon, and the work is currently looking at the usage, especially water usage, especially with regards to industry. Well, exploration is looking for water needs currently and in the future, and in particularly for the development area of Exit 56 and possible areas to set a test well. We will be scheduling CBCL to present the project update to council in the coming months. The province of New Brunswick will be launching a public website online data portal to provide New Brunswick residents with details on drinking water systems such as testing and requirements. The launch is expected in the next couple of months. Childcare, the pre-qualifying intake for the childcare building construction has started in December, with tender documents going out to those who have qualified in January. The Public Works, the new St. George Public Works truck is awaiting a plow installation. A number of vehicles have been plagued with breakdowns and repairs, with a large 3-ton truck plow at a service with a rear end issue. In addition, St. George crew needed to complete a water repair on Brunswick Street in front of the Upper Mall, only a couple of days after Christmas, while completing snow and ice removal. Dangerous and unsightly premises, we are submitting reimbursement to the Department of Finance for demolition completed in the last couple of months. A tender closes for demolition in Back Bay in mid-January. Parks and Recreation, some renovations are planned for Macadavic in early January, with a closet being installed in the conference room, as well as a large TV in the conference room for meetings, a closet being installed downstairs, and a security system for the entry into the building. The IceView camera for the arena is now viewable on the municipal website. Heating and air system has been installed in the former curling club side. It's now being used for indoor recreation space. The YMCA will be completing some painting for the arena, and one of the 2 compressors will be taken offline for retrofit in mid-January. Staff will be working on the new playground area near the courts on the side of the arena. The courts will be lined in the spring for basketball and ground hockey. A thank you to staff and volunteers that worked the Christmas float in St. George and the Santa visit in Black Arbor. The New Year's fireworks went off without any issue and were well received. Thank you to the ECFR members and volunteers from Patriel's for assisting with traffic for these events, as well as the Christmas parade in Back Bay. For housing development, staff is meeting in early January with landowners of the proposed apartment building in St. George, Brunswick Street, to offer assistance in moving that project along. Project Village Housing in Black Arbor report that structural work will be starting new concrete footings. So we have asked also for Matt Rouleau to plan to come in and give an update to council likely next month. And just finally, the municipality would like to thank members of the Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue, much mentioned by His Worship, for their prompt response and overall work at the January the 4th Granite Court apartment fire on Main Street in St. George. Not only was the fire operation during the day, but not only with the fire operation during the day, but with previous work completed by the fire chief and fire members with the apartment tenants on the fire escape plan and fire drill, which really assisted in the prompt and orderly evacuation of the tenants there. Additional thanks and appreciation is extended to the staff of the extramural nurses who not only provided their office space for a muster station, but were also on site providing assistance for evacuees. The municipality has open communication with the Atlantic Baptist Housing for any assistance on efforts to repair the building. And a thank you is extended to the volunteers of the Canadian Red Cross that were also on hand, and the numerous organizations and individuals assisting with the temporary relocation of the St. George Food Bank and Community Living Group. And that is the report.
Thank you, Jason. A question or comment? Councillor Thompson, you're first.
Do we have a delivery date for the sander and plow for the new public works truck?
As of right now, I think last time we checked, it was a two-week delay with the plow, and as far as the sander, they were trying to source something fairly quick, but I think everyone's having the same issues. Talking to other municipalities, everyone's equipment, and it seems like they've had a very limited supply of either plows or sanders out there. So, hoping to get them done by the end of this month. It's a plan.
You're looking forward to next week, aren't you? That's when we need it. Councillor Dederakis, you had your hand up? Oh, I'm sorry. If there's no other questions or comments, I'm going to move ahead to reports of the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission. And Mr. Henderson, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. So this past month, PRAC considered a similar or compatible with variance at 128 Jack Road in Penfield. And this was for a request to have 2 separate dwelling units on one lot as similar compatible with something that is allowable in that rural plan. It was approved with some conditions related to subdivision. Myself and the housing specialist senior planner met with Lori Kelly to look at a nonprofit housing development potential in various locations in Eastern Charlotte. So we're hopeful that some of the guidance was helpful and directing their efforts to projects that can be shovel ready. Also, it's not on this written report, but in the past couple weeks, my staff went to the Southeast Regional Service Commission office in Moncton to see what their planning division is doing to support their municipal partners' public works with mapping infrastructure. And they're doing some interesting work with tracking public works changes to infrastructure so that the CAOs in the various towns they serve have dashboards with active projects and be able to track condition reports that their consulting engineers provide the municipality and be able to upload information, detailed information to your GIS system. So it's something we're looking at doing and exploring as a pro bono added service to you that also supports community planning efforts, so we could use that data to inform development decisions. So it's a win-win. So in the last year, this is kind of just like a year-end update. There was 26 new houses permitted, 86 building or development permits issued last year. You had a total construction value of 10.7 million, and that generated about 63,700 in permit fees for Eastern Charlotte. 22 subdivision plans were approved last year with the creation of 47 new building lots and 11 parcels that were created. 12 zoning confirmation letters were issued. 5 variance or terms and conditions approvals were handled. 2 rezonings were approved by council, as well as 4 new public roads involved with subdivisions. So these could have been public roads that were either created or extended. Last year, there was 58 enforcement files that were open and active and working towards being closed. And these were on the various bylaws that we support Eastern Charlotte with under the Community Planning Act, the Building Code Administration Act, and the Dangerous Unsightly Premises bylaw. And these bylaws, as we talk about, are intended to protect neighbors and property, maintain public safety and order, and provide a foundation for the community's long-term prosperity and growth. So that concludes my report. If there's any questions, happy to take them.
Great. Any questions for Alex? None? None at all? Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Okay, that brings us to the fire report. I'm going to go to Councillor Thompson on this.
The fire report for December 2025. The boys had 3 fire calls, 24 public service calls, 6 false alarm, 26 medical calls, for a total of 60. A year total for Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue, 577 total calls. I'd like to thank the fire department for their help for the first night Blacks Harbor fireworks, the apartment fire just up the street from here, and it was good to see the fire queue reports for this month and the
Great.
year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any questions or comments on the fire service? If not, okay, that brings us to the Public Works report. Usually Councillor McQuarrie does this, but tonight Deputy Mayor has volunteered to give that report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. St. George, final prep and assembly on snow removal equipment was done to the vehicles. Some, as we heard from Jason, were awaiting repairs, and that's ongoing. Water use for December was 12.6699 million gallons pumped. A water service line was replaced at a residence on Riverview Avenue, had a break on Main Street in St. George, and ongoing water testing has been all within parameters. Blacks Harbor, same thing, they've been working on all their trucks. The sewer lagoon, they did a drone survey by Clean Harbors as part of the ongoing dredging. It was when completed. The old turbidity meter that was sent out for regular service has been completed and passed. Fire hydrant diffusers and adapters have been ordered as part of the flushing program. They did some ditching and new power lines installed at the arena to put the heat pumps in. And the Santa sleigh needs upgrades and repairs, so we best get at that before next Christmas. Water tests all come back within parameters.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Any questions or comments on the Public Works report? No? Councillor Hatt.
I got a comment more than anything.
Yep, sure.
You touched on the pretty much 100-year-old Santa sleigh that's there, and most of us forever and ever can remember the deer and everything. I'd like to see us get a rough idea, cost and time of getting that sleigh and the deer off the beams that are there and the old trailer that are there, and to look at getting it underneath of a frame that, it can be taken to other parades, whether it's in Back Bay or Blacks Harbor, St. George, whatever. It should be out and used. It's a gem that we have, and it needs a little bit of TLC and repair, and I think something that's 100 years old is time that we can give it a little bit of repairs and pass the history along, so.
No, that's a good idea. It was good to see the heat pumps put into the arena. That was part of that report. That was great to see that being done. I know I've been in there a couple times, and it's a lot warmer in there now. So it's great that the YMCA is utilizing that area, and with a little bit of heat there. I guess there are people in there walking in there as well too. So anybody who wants to do any extra walking in the wintertime, the doctor's told you to get out and do some walking. You can actually do that in Black Sabbath inside the building, and it's there's no snow inside. You don't have to worry about falling down, and it's on the side that they have a little bit of heat in there, so it makes it a lot more comfortable for walking. Okay, that brings us. Is there no other? Councilor Dedrick. Yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
This is for the age-friendly committee. Just an update. So they're working on. We're working on issue number 2 for the newsletter. That will be printed probably mid-February. At the last meeting, they discussed outline of emergency preparedness workshop for seniors and draft a list of organizations to contact and assist in delivery. So that would include Red Cross, EMO, Search and Rescue, Fire Department, Veterinarian Clinic. And the hope is that this will be delivered on around April 2026. Just working on the draft for that. We're also researching research price of plastic totes for emergency kits and creating a list of what the kits will actually contain. One of the items that I was asked to ask Jason is if the walking trails are groomed in the wintertime in St. George.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the river trails that are our own along the river are groomed. They should be groomed. But the trail that is paved is not. That's a provincial multi-use trail. We share that usage with the Snowmobile Club.
Okay.
So it needs to maintain its snow base. But we have had some good discussions with the Snowmobile Club to see if that's something that they would free up to allow it to be groomed by us or plowed by us, because I know a lot of people like to use that. So that's still outstanding, whether they're going to free that up. But the agreement of us using it as a walking trail was that during the winter months should be used by other means. Mm-hmm. And I believe that there was some aspect as well of outdoor winter recreation for that too. So, yeah. But yeah, definitely if there's, if residents aren't seeing the trails done in due time, certainly contact the town hall and, let us know. I mean, we have had some hiccups with equipment and stuff, but yes, definitely the river trails are supposed to be groomed and cleared out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I got a question on that. With huge dumping of snow, hopefully that's coming next week.
You said hopefully?
I did. I see the
with a smile.
billards are still in, so I know that's a lease trail of snowmobilers to try to get to the hotel. So before we end up with a foot of snow, it's probably valid to get the billards out of there.
It's a good point because, it can't be used as a snowmobile and keep the billards in. So, it's either take the billards out and use it for snowmobiles or keep the billards in and allow it to be used for, pedestrian use. So, yeah, good point.
And I'll just add last thing for the committee report, the Round the Loop group in Back Bay had requested copies of the New Brunswick Seniors Resource Book and more information on the age-friendly committee. So one of our members, who actually does reside in Back Bay, she'll be meeting with the group. So.
Okay. So I get out of that, there's going to be a lot of snow coming. Is that what you're saying, Councillor? There you go. It sounds like a lot for next week coming, so anybody likes snowmobiling. All right, that brings us to Parks and Recreation. Councillor Hatt, do you have anything to report today?
Yeah, I'm just going to point note this, Your Worship, because most of it's been covered. So the compressor number 1 is going down for overhaul. That's a kind of preventive maintenance kind of thing. It's at its hours of use, and anyway, we don't want a major blow up. I know Paul's here. He's been part of years ago of when major blow ups happen on compressors. It isn't good. So they'll be done ahead of time before that happens. So the other one that's on here is there's been some puckboard ads that's come out. Your Worship, if it's okay, I'd like to see the CAO get a posting out on our Facebook and website to let companies and businesses know, because it's a couple months that this has been in here and I don't see any really traction going with that. So they hosted a couple County Moose games. Go to the website or the Facebook page for all the open times that there is down there. It's really a lot now and too many to list off here in a short meeting. So, and the rest of it's just really winterization and maintaining during the winter. So.
Okay, got a quick question for you, Councillor Hatt, and I'm going to put you on the line here. There's a camera on the ice in the arena that's accessible to the public. Can you explain how that works?
So I believe the link is on our website. You got to go in through, I guess it's technically a portal, so you can go in and see that live. It's a, I don't want to say 360 camera, but like 180 view of it, and you can log in, hit the link. I think there's a few terms that you have to hit okay with, and then after that you can view anything that's going on down there. The only time that it would not be if there was private events or something that would be blacked out during that, but public hockey games and practices and etc., you'll be able to log in. So been a long time coming, and to be honest, I think it would have been easier to build a whole recreation than get one camera in there, but it's finally done. So.
Yeah. So if anybody has trouble getting onto it, probably the best idea would be just to call town hall and ask for Parks and Recreation Department. They could walk. I know I had Kara walk me through it because I'm not very good with the computer, and she showed me how to set it all up. But and I imagine there's other people out there in the same boat as me that are not very great with technology.
Yeah,
They have trouble.
it's not one-click link go today with cybersecurity and
Yeah.
protecting the municipalities, networks that are there. So, I mean, there is a few firewalls to go through, and I believe IT's got all the bugs worked out of that. It's new. Is there going to be some bugs along the way? I'm sure there will be. So anything that anybody sees or has problems or questions, I would ask that they'd reach out to the municipal office, and I'm sure the girls in there will help. And if we need help, then I think Wilson's is the one that provided it for us, so we could reach out to the contractor if it's something that's a failure or a firewall problem. So.
Yeah, great, thank you. Just to make it a little clearer for the public, what we're talking about is a camera that's on the ice at the arena in Black Harbor, so that if there's a game going on there, you have somebody in your family playing a hockey game down there, you can go onto your computer at home and be able to watch the game from home. There's no play-by-play or anything like that, but the quality is actually really, really good. So you can actually, you probably can see the players, tell which way the players are, as long as we know the numbers, and you can actually see the players getting onto the ice from the players' bench and stuff too. So actually it's quite good. So this is something where you get say grandparents or even people from away watching a hockey tournament be able to watch a game in Black Harbor from that site. So it's we're moving ahead in this century.
Your Worship, I do want to just mention for a quick second that I know it's been quite a few years ago that an organization of ladies raised some money, and it was a small amount of money to give in towards that, to getting that camera up. It was come out of COVID when the place was only, remember the rackets of back then, the bubbles and all that. So unfortunately, at first there was an online camera that was bought. It's one that you'd put on your house, and anyway, the image was terrible on it. You couldn't make out the scoreboard. You couldn't make out anybody skating. Then there's a whole cybersecurity thing of it as too that's come, in the last 4 or 5 years. So anyway, the camera was quite costly. There is a fee that we're paying for it, so it is important to us and important to the community. So I want to say thank you to that group for kickstarting that quite some time ago, and I will apologize because I would have never believed when we said yes we would put one in that we didn't even have internet in the building at the time. So anyway, it's been a long time coming. So
Absolutely, yeah. Didn't think it'd take so long for Rogers or whoever the company we did have run a line down there, but there was no lines going into that building. So it's great to have that technology now, and the arena is like I say, this opens it up for more people to be able to see what's going on there. So. Any other committee reports tonight? Yes, I don't want to leave anybody out. If there's not, I have to go to number 8, which is the financial statement tonight, and I need a motion to accept the financial reports for December 2025. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I move to accept the financial reports for December 2025.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder. Councillor Thompson. question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us to old business. This is the one that Councillor Dedorakis has added, and it's the Blacks Harbor Water Committee, I guess it was. So I'm going to let you go ahead and speak on where it's old
Sure,
business.
Your Worship, I'd
Yep.
like to ask our CAO to introduce it and describe what this is about.
So yeah, this would be the subcommittee, Public Works Subcommittee regarding the communication of the Blacks Harbor water projects. So terms and references have been drafted and provided for council for circulation and feedback up to this date. So I think the plans were to get this on the agenda for passing and activation within the next council meeting, but those have been circulated. Certainly, we've brought in some different folks on providing some feedback, staff and stuff, so that we've drafted. So, and I just encourage any councilors to review it and provide some feedback, and then we'll get this moving. So the whole point of this is to provide another level of communication on the ongoing water projects, not just one, but the IBA of well exploration and development, but our phase 2 work that we're doing as well for upgrading the existing infrastructure. And as well, the third part is the Goody study that's been ongoing with the wells themselves, all those being done by On Globe, and provide an update, another channel for not only just to go to council or to update a news release, but also to have members of the water system that would be able to know what's coming down the pipes and how does that impact the water users that's coming. So as we know, phase 2, as we're starting to see in the next On Globe update that they'll come to bring to us will be, what is the next actions for updating the water infrastructure, and how do we take that then to the province and say, we'd love the province to give us 100%, but it's going to be maybe some difficulty, but ensuring that the people that are that subcommittee are also aware of what's going on and what the big requirement's going to be, because no doubt it's going to require not just this council and the municipality, but it's going to require really the water users of Blacks Harbor to say, support us the most we can to get this water situation corrected. But yeah, if we just sort of take what they give us, we could be, ratios of money on projects could be 33% or 50% of the cost would have to be on the Blacks Harbor water rates. But, I think that with some, with cooperation of the public, with the municipality, I think that we can certainly put some pressure to get things moving along. So, yeah, the terms of reference are there. They've been circulated, and our hopes are to get some things going and at least get some meetings maybe at the end of February for this. So,
Any other comments, questions from council on this item?
So I would assume at the next committee of a whole meeting, we're going to discuss this again, and then pending everything goes well and all the i's and t's are crossed, we'll pass it at the February meeting.
that's right, yeah. So just the committee, terms of reference just require a single motion of council. It is a subcommittee of the existing Public Works Committee. Exactly.
Good. Any other questions or comments?
So
Oh, I'm sorry.
our next working session, like any of the stuff that we have that we don't want to see or don't like, or some amendments or wording, that's where we'll kind of blow that out, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, we wanted council to all have a good opportunity to see it and have some input into it. And I think everybody has a copy of it. Is it? Yeah, so maybe by next Tuesday, the council will take another look at it this weekend. And since all you're going to be doing this weekend is shoveling snow anyway, so you can read that and get some ideas of get some other ideas on the table. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm going to move ahead to new business tonight, and it's 10A, the Capital Borrowing Board application. I'm going to go to Jason to speak on this.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we do have an application for authorization for borrowing. Council maybe recall that we did do a tendering for a new fire truck pumper for Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue, and that tendering was awarded to Carl Thibault out of Quebec. And so this would be for the borrowing application. This isn't the final borrowing authority that we get. There's two phases that come to council with borrowing. It's the first of the application. We've received the quotations and the cost estimates, so we then take that to the Capital Borrowing Board, and then they will give us the authority to borrow. We then go and purchase a truck, and then once a truck is purchased, then we go back to them and say, we now need this open line of credit or this borrowing line to be opened. So this is really the first step of that, and we were looking at the emergency service fire truck pumper. It's a 15-year term at $934,000 for a 15-year term. We wouldn't want to go any more for 20 years. I mean, at that point, you're getting into a point where you're going to start to double up on trucks that are new trucks that are going to be needed, and then having multiple opening borrowing authorities for fire trucks. So 15 years is pretty much the norm for something that's approaching that cost. And just so the residents are aware that the last borrowing we did for the town of St. George was roughly around $450,000 for a new truck, and that was in 2017. 10 years later, it's almost double, so it's a lot of money. We did that for 10 years. So that's really what we're facing with, and that was, again, the lowest bid that we received, taxes in total term amount. So we'd be looking for authority to make the application to the Capital Borrowing Board at the 15 years at $934,000.
Great. At this point, Council, I have to entertain a motion. Councilor Thompson.
Be it resolved that the municipality of Eastern Charlotte submits to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board an application for the authorization to borrow money to guarantee the repayment of money borrowed to enter into a lease or lease purchase or purchase arrangement in the amount not to exceed $934,000.
For the following, if you want to read the rest of that,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Emergency Services Fire Pumper Truck for the term of 15 years and the amount of $934,000.
Great, thank you. I didn't want to put words in your mouth. Thank you. Seconder is the deputy mayor. Now, at this point, Council, this is your opportunity to ask questions on the motion. Yeah, Councilor Hatt, you're first.
So, Your Worship, maybe if I can address to the CAO for a second.
Sure, absolutely.
2017, I believe we bought one in Blacks Harbor after that, and I think it was around 800-ish, 635 plus taxes and whatnot, I believe, at the time. Is that not after 2017? Okay. So that was done by Metal Fab, which is a New Brunswick company. Why wouldn't we be looking at a New Brunswick company again if we're going to spend $1 million?
That was sort of the tendering that we did. So that would have been done back when we awarded the tendering for Carl Thibault back in December or November, I believe. So that was the outcome of that tendering for trucks. So at that point, we didn't stipulate any New Brunswick only. It was left to be open, basically Canada-wide for trucks.
Yeah, but I guess my question is if we are looking at spending $1 million on an apparatus for fire service and there is a company in New Brunswick, are they not going to be able to tender this when we get approval and all that, or is that done?
So we have to tender first to get the actual quotation of cost. We then take that to the Capital Borrowing Board. So, so the tendering's already been selected in November when the tender results came in. So now that we have that actual cost, that was the lowest bidder. That's what we then take, that quotation we take with the application for borrowing.
If you don't mind, I don't remember seeing the different prices that came in on a fire truck. So I know myself, if it did, then it got missed in the mucks of emails. But I know one thing, I'd want to know what the difference was between a New Brunswick company and not. So to lay my head at night, if it's only a few, tens, thousands of dollars difference, to me, I would rather go to a New Brunswick business, so.
Yeah, I don't recall the actual council meeting. It was motion of council to award the tendering. May have been November, I believe. I don't recall what it was, but there was. I couldn't even tell you what the difference was between Metal Fab and Carl Thibault at the time, but they were the lowest. Carl Thibault.
Councilor Thompson, maybe you can remember what it was.
It was very close to 100,000.
Pardon me, I did.
Very close to 100,000.
100,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I just
And
asked
that-
Councilor Thomas because he's on the.
That,
fire
my,
committee.
my only concern is going outside of the province of New Brunswick with $1 million as a tradesman. I don't support that.
Yep. Okay, any other questions or comments on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary is Councilor Hatt. Councilor Hatt, would you like to say why you want to vote?
I think if we're going to spend that kind of money, then I think it should be very detailed in a truck build to know what exactly the differences are that we're sending $1 million outside this province.
Great. So, therefore, that motion is carried, and we'll move on to 10B, which is the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership, PMHP 2027 to 2031. I'm going to go to Jason to speak on this first before a motion is made.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the circulated is the 5-year proposed priorities. This is the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership, the PMHP. So these are for roads that are owned by the province that are in the old jurisdictions of the Village of Black Sarber and the Town of St. George. So the 5-year plan is as follows. Route 172, there's 650 meters there, pulverizing and paving. We're estimating that around $695,000. At 2028, Route 172, 650 meters, pulverizing and paving, but $695,000 as well. Both of those are on really the Funday Bay or the Back Bay Road leaving St. George. 2029, Route 176, Wallace Cove Road, that's about 750 meters, pulverizing and paving, about $800,000. And that's from really the power station there on Wallace Cove Road down to just as you go down the hill towards the ferry. Then 2030, it's back to Route 172 to finish that off. I don't know why I said the Black Sarber Road there, but it's really Funday Bay Drive. 600 meters there, pulverizing and paving. That's basically from where we left off to the corner of the Masquerade Road, so that would finish that road over those years. And for 2031, Route 172, there's about 490 meters of pulverizing and paving, and then curb and sidewalk work of about $821,000. So that would be just submitted to the province. Right now, we do have $445,000 committed to 2027 from them. I just spoke with them today, actually, and to make up the difference, just resubmitting the plan for this new total, and then just a request for them to top it up. But 400-some thousand, by the time you mobilize a paved crew, you're only getting about 400 meters, so that's not a lot. Anything would help out the Back Bay Road at this point. It is pretty bumpy if anyone's heading that way. But to get mobilized and to try to do this in 3 phases over that length of time. Overall, this 5-year would finish that Back Bay Road and start to address some of the issues on Mount Pleasant, and as well finish off the road going to the ferry of Route 172 in Black Sarber. So that would be the plan for the next 5 years. And of course, this plan can get modified and changed at any time. I guess our key is trying to get that 2027 ask in there as soon as possible. I think the other part is that in 2028, we'd probably make some adjustments as we get some more of the quotes back for the turn lane that we're still trying to estimate now. So the plan would be that we take this plan back after probably next year, then update it again to get a turn lane. It's just we're kind of struggling with the tight width of the right-of-way for that area to try to get that quoted. But that would be the plan, to try to at least get a turn lane there. But our big thing is for 2027, by the time we get through this year, the province comes back and maybe gives us the funding. And then once we get tendering out for 2027, that does take some time. So that's sort of the plan, to start to address that road. The municipal designated highway plan, we were lucky a couple of years ago to get the Black Sarber, the farm stretch done. That was with some money that was approved, but for the most part, the province hasn't really done a whole lot with providing funds. So we want to make sure that we've got a plan that they can stick to and keep moving things forward. So we'd be looking for just council to move this forward.
Yeah, farm stretches, not just for the residents of Black Harbor, but it's also for all the residents of Grand Manan too, because that's the highway going through this provincial road. The turning area you mentioned is the Tim Hortons. By the Tim Hortons, is that what you mean?
No, it would be the turn lane for Macadavic Drive by the old car wash hitting the back bay. There's
Okay,
a
okay,
section
okay,
there.
okay, sorry about that, yep.
Yeah. And the reason, I guess, just to only add as well, talking to the province, they don't really like to approve much that's over the $1 million mark. There's a kind of a sweet spot for them. And they did sort of highlight the fact that if any time that the municipality would like to contribute towards the municipal designated highway program for funding, then they would certainly look at it more favorably. But that's nothing that either the Village of Black Arbor or the Town of St. George ever did. It was basically 100% funded by the province for their municipal roads, their provincial roads. So, but I just need to throw that in there too.
Great, so, well, at this point, council, I need a motion, I'll entertain one now.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Great, Deputy Mayor?
Be it resolved that the Council of Eastern Charlotte approve the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership Program for 2027 to 2031 and authorize the CAO to submit the application to the Department of Transportation to the province of New Brunswick.
Great,
Of the pro-
great, no, that's all right, thank you, and I need a seconder for that. And Councilor McKay? The reason I mentioned that Tim Hortons corner, I don't know if anybody's gone by there lately. You could lose a car in some of those holes around that corner now. Be careful. A lot of potholes there. Any other questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. It's passed unanimously. 10C, Communications. Councillor Hatt, I'm going to look to you for a motion for that, if you could.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that we do hire a firm or whatever to do some communication training around social media and posting on social media inside of our Eastern Charlotte.
Okay, great.
That would be one motion. I have two that I'm going to make.
Okay, yeah, so what we're going to do is one motion at a time. I'm going to make sure Amy has that written down, right? Then I'll have her read it back to me when she has it.
Be it resolved that Council of Eastern Charlotte approve communications training.
Communications for training of communications and social media.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on that motion? No, I'm good. Councillor Tidd, you're first.
I think it's a good idea, but I'm just wondering, do we have a budgeted amount that we're looking at that?
I can amend that we get a pricing and come back to council if that would be better for you.
Okay, so we're going to amend the motion.
Might as well let that one die and I can amend it then.
Oh, yeah, if you want to amend it, or okay, you want that one to die? I have to go to Councillor Thompson if he agrees with that.
I agree to rescind it.
Again? Okay, so we're going back to the beginning again. I'm going back to you, Councillor Hatt.
I will make a motion that we get some quotes of help with communication, social media, and yeah, come back to council.
Good.
And if we could have that done by the next council meeting, that would be great.
I need a seconder for that. Councillor Tidd. Question or comment on the motion? Councillor Dedorakis, you're first.
With the training, is this for a potential, is this just to train an existing employee, or is this for the potential to hire a new person for communication?
If you ask me, we have multiple people today that can post to social media. We need to clean that up and understand on how we're going to do that going forward. And that's what that training will do. There's people out there that have a career in this, so.
Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor McKay.
Can you just maybe expand on that a little bit? Because I'm a little, like, what does that mean? What is this? I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But what does it entail? Like, what is it for?
Confusion in the public would be one. There has been several events on the last little bit. Stuff gets posted and then took down. We need to make sure that our employees understand on how that should be. We shouldn't just be posting stuff,
Okay, okay.
right? Like
No, I agree.
willy-nilly. It
100%.
should be the next motion that's coming here with a policy and a bylaw to drive that, so.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Councillor Hatt.
Second motion would be to, today, our social media, actually, I'm going to ask a question first, Your Worship, to the CAO, so I can get the
Sure.
motion clarified.
Sure.
Today, we have a policy or a bylaw that's driving how we communicate from council or from the municipality to Eastern Charlotte.
Yeah, it would be a policy, because bylaws are more facing towards residents, and policies are inward facing, you know, governing staff, governing, you know, the internal operations. So yes, there would be a media policy today that we would have to either amend or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So my motion will be that we update or renew that policy within the next 30 days to cover on how official posts of the municipality is to be handled. I.e., if there's something going on in the municipality, I believe it should be posted on our website and social media pages before it's posted anywhere else. That way there it's clean, one message. Because I believe that's what's going on today, is there's multiple messages. So that would be my motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Councillor McKay? Question or comment on the motion? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Tidd.
I agree. I believe if we're going to have something posted on our official webpage, it should be crossed over into our social media, and I think I've relayed that actually to our CAO. I think there's been some confusion in the past that it may be in one place and not in the other, and that creates a lot of issues in my opinion. So yeah, I agree.
Thus, the training helps support cross-functionality.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? If not, oh, Councillor
Like,
Derricks, you're next.
I know that, you know, it's normal that, you know, residents want to know where their tax dollars are being spent and if it's being allocated in the areas that need investing. So for example, like in Blacks Harbor, you know, ratepayers pay for water, right? They naturally want an update on what's happening with their water system. Same thing with the childcare. Parents and grandparents and, you know, businesses want to know if this thing's happening. So like I know for us on council, like we're in the loop of what's going on, right? We do our regular meetings, we go to our committee of a whole meetings, but if we were not on council, would we be aware of the things that council was doing, right? Like imagine if you weren't on council, would you actually see all the moving parts? And the answer would be no. Right? So that's where social media could come into play and could be very beneficial to actually illustrate that. My only concern is, like some people, like it's always, the public will have the option to like read the message and to have the option to engage. The other thing is that there's a likelihood that they won't actually read or watch the or video. I guess it's like the strategy of how we're going to be communicating things. That's it. But ultimately, I'm going to support it because communication has to be consistent. It should be coming from one chain of command. And yeah, that's that. That's what I'm supporting.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Now we move ahead to 10D, Black Harbor Water System. What is council's pleasure on this? Maybe I'll go to Councillor Tidd. I guess you're the one who brought this forward.
Yeah, I'm bringing a motion forward here to council. It's kind of lengthy, so bear with me. Whereas the municipality of Eastern Charlotte is committed to ensuring the safety, efficiency, and compliance of water system within the jurisdiction, and whereas the municipality privately owned water system may impact overall water management, public health, infrastructure, and planning, and whereas it is necessary to obtain data on the flow and distribution rates of the private water system at the source of distribution, which is Jackson, to assess usage and ensure adherence to applicable guidelines. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte authorize and directs the municipality engineering firm OnGlobe to obtain the flow and distribution rates of the private water system which supplies Blacks Harbor and Beaver Harbor, including data on flow distribution and consumption, while adhering to all actions fully comply with relevant provincial guidelines under the New Brunswick Provincial Health Act, Clean Water Act, Water Quality Regulation NB 82-126, and federal guidelines for Canadian drinking water quality, as well as any other applicable provincial and federal regulations pertaining to water quality, privacy, and data collection. Be it further resolved that the engineering firm shall provide a report to council on its findings. And be it further resolved that should OnGlobe be unable to obtain this information through standard procedures, that the municipality will seek assistance from the Provincial Department of Environment and Local Government to facilitate access of the required data. And I would move that by motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I would need a seconder to move that forward. Councillor Hatt? Okay, question or comment on this? Councillor Dederakis, you're first.
I have a question for our CAO. Can the municipality direct OnGlobe to obtain the flow and distribution rates of a privately owned system?
It can direct. So putting a meter on a private system, we would have the authority to I mean, it would really be up to the private owner whether or not they would accept putting a metering on and allow it to be read or accessible by us. You know, in the Public Works report, you've seen, you know, we have details on the St. George, how much we're pumping. We have those meters on our own pumps. We know what they are. But going into private wells or private property and installing some sort of a metering system, you know, it would come down to us having to make that formal request through them and see if that's something they can do. Or, as the motion states, going to the province and seeing if there's some assistance
But
there.
it's not, but we can't enforce it, though. It's really on the onus of the owner to say yes or no, correct?
Ultimately, yes, yeah.
Okay. So at the last meeting, OnGlobe I remember, Councillor Tidd, you had asked the question of, can we get these numbers of distribution rates? And Pierre had said that, you know, there is an agreement like they're working at, that's in place. And, you know, they emphasize how it's an aging system and, you know, this system doesn't have the up-to-date monitoring equipment. But they can review existing information and calculate flow and distribution rates using data already available. That's what they said at the meeting. So my follow-up question is, how will this data, say we get this data, how will this improve the water quality or the supply of water to affected residents? I guess that's just a general show question. You don't have to answer that
I mean,
question,
I
too.
guess one thing is for us is that we will, you know, we don't really have, like, the history of, like, the Village of Blacks Harbor and up through with Eastern Charlotte. We've never really known what that is or even how it compares to the pumping that we do in St. George, really.
Yeah.
We don't know if there's capacity, free, you know, there's free capacity that's in there. We really don't know. So what they are doing is gathering that information to help us understand, is the pumps big enough? You know, do we have enough, you know, water going to the village that can supply industry and, you know, further growth, residents and what have you, right? So we do have to learn that stuff. That's something that was never freely obtained before. We would go down and do sampling. That's part of our own license to approval to operate. We do a sampling, but it's only upon going on their property to get the sample and then leaving. We don't.
Okay, so you're saying that this data is essential to go forward with the water project?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely be
perfect.
important for us to know. I mean, we don't even know the life of those pumps. I mean, you know, some folks have worked down there and probably have a good understanding, but, you know, to put on paper to say those pumps are 40 years old or 30, maybe we have to replace those as well. Maybe there are some issues there. And so it is important to get a full understanding of that whole water system and how much it's going to cost to replace all of these things again. So it is important to know what is actually the volumes coming out.
Sure.
Councilor, okay, I got people, I'm gonna go Deputy Mayor, because I heard you first, and then back to you.
This is for our CAO. With the ongoing negotiations with the owner and the agreement for a non-disclosure that they had in place with OnGlobe, would this motion be workable within those parameters? Like,
Well, I guess, we're not really negotiating anything at this point. We're just understanding what's actually there for equipment and infrastructure. That's kind of the phase that we're in now. As far as an NDA, I mean, it's going to help. We're gathering the information to truly understand the age and the performance of those pieces of information. So, it's not something we're going to take and, not like, I guess that's really what it comes down to is, how much the private well owner, how much they're willing to provide to us. Is it going to be, continue to give us the information, or is it something we can actually freely put a meter on nowadays? We have that on all the St. George wells. We know exactly what they're pumping, how long they're running, and what have you. So it really would come down to, the ask that we'd like to replicate that in the Black Harbor water system, and whether or not they'd be willing to do that, because, it's important information, but they may also come back and say, yes, we can't provide this data, or, what have you. But yeah, at this point, it's all part of the phase 2 that we're trying to understand about the infrastructure and the cost that's going to be needed to repair. We all know transmission lines are a huge issue of what we have, but reservoirs are just as important. Lines to Beaver Harbor are important too. So, but yeah, this is, it's information that we certainly would like to have more readily than versus going and knocking on the door and asking if we can have it.
I'm gonna go get Councilor Tidd.
Well, I agree, this is important to the water users in Blacks Harbor and Beaver. It's also important to find out for those flow and distribution rates to the outside areas of my ward that are having issues with their wells going dry because of the water table. So that information, I think, would go a long way to provide on how much water is being put out of that system. That information has been requested and denied by the private water source owner before. So I think it's pertinent to get that information to see how much water is going through that system, how much water may be being wasted through that system, and making sure the provider is within the guidelines of that system. So if we can't get it through our engineering firm, I think we should be going back to the provincial government to get that information, because it has been denied in the past.
Good. Any other, I guess see all kinds of hands. I'm going to go to Councillor Hatt first, and then Councillor Thompson.
I support the motion for one reason alone. And the simple reason of that is today, I do not know if it's 100,000 gallons that the village of Blacks Harbor uses, or 400,000 gallons a day. We have no data today to tell us what the municipality uses. So how do we ever know what kind of system we're going to need? And we're looking at putting wells in, and engineering has said it's going to be a well of this size we need. Well, how about if it's a lot less? Or how about if it's a lot more? And without that data, I don't know how we're ever going to be able to come up with that. The other side of that would be is there's lots of conversation, lots of, I don't want to use the word negotiation, because other than a verbal desktop conversation, that's all that has been about the private water source and the municipal using of it, and how that would go forward. Yes, it was said they didn't want to be in, whatever that quote was that day, but let's say you go down all this road and that is the water source, and meanwhile the water table's dropped by 10 feet and we can't sustain using that well anymore. I know one thing, I don't want to vote to spend a whole bunch of money if I don't know that that well's in good shape. So they would be my two reasons I'd support it. And that's got nothing to do with the private entity. It's got nothing to do with us. It's just got to do with good business of knowing what we have.
Good. I'm going to go to Councillor Thompson.
OnGlobe is our engineering group, correct? They have been in the pump house at Jackson's. So if they were paying attention, if you look at the size of the motor and the size of the pump and the line size, they can do the math and tell you what they're pumping out. And if they put one at the reservoir at the farm, they can tell you what they're getting there. And they can put another one into the village in 2 or 3 other places if they have to and tell you exactly what it is. And it's just math. Like, we're paying them. They need to step up and do the part.
And, you know, and I guess they have, that's part of their next report to us, is on the phase 2 of you know, they are aware, I mean, they do know what size pumps they are, but, you know, if we didn't have access to that, and we've never been afforded that before in the past, to actually go there and to compile information for the municipality, you know, that has never been afforded to us until just the last couple of years. So yeah, that's all part of trying to quote out what phase 2 is actually going to cost to do. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go to Councillor Tidd to give you the last say on this, since you put the motion on the floor tonight, so you actually have the
No.
opportunity to speak last on this.
And the reason why I guess I put this motion, like I brought it up to our engineering firm, Emglo, before to get the information. I just wanted to be put in a formal motion and passed by this council.
Good. So at this point, everybody spoke on it, so I'm going to take it to a vote. All those in favor of the motion that Councillor Tidd has put on the floor tonight signify by saying aye. Contrary, that's passed unanimously. That brings us to, folks, to correspondence tonight. And the first item we have tonight is from the Richard family. And this is a card that was sent to the municipality, and it's kind of worded to the Eastern Charlotte Fire and Rescue and staff. And they say, thank you for giving your strength to so many. I am thankful for your commitment to caring for our community. Your dedication and skill are making a difference. Thank you so much from Lawrence Richard's family, Judy, Sue, Lorraine, Sandy, and Penny. So thank you very much from the Richard family for that card. And so we truly appreciate it, and I want to make sure the Eastern Charlotte Fire and Rescue did hear that tonight. We actually have a second letter tonight, and this is from Teresa Gadet letter, and Councilor McKay has volunteered to read that tonight. So.
Volunteer, you asked me. Dear Mayor Craig, after attending the Municipal Council meeting on December 17th, there are a few matters of concerns as follows. 1, poor location of the mailbox in a very dangerous area on Route 176 Penfield for oncoming and outgoing traffic. Once informed from the December 17th meeting that this was a federal government concern, the appropriate department was notified, and we were advised that the situation is presently being addressed. Number 2, Tim Horton's new entrance. Common remarks from the public. I don't bother going there, for it is too congested. I like to go to Tim's with a few friends, but I can never get a place to sit, etc. Where tourists are remaining more in Canada for holiday travel, would it not be a good idea to accommodate more people at Tim Hortons? There is no room to expand at the present location, therefore another location would be the logical answer. Where the present Tim Hortons is in the Penfield rural area, could the Development Committee consider a Tim Hortons / Wendy's combo venue similar to the one by Sims Corner, St. John West? There is a lot of land in Penfield area, past Camo's, on both sides of the road, which may be available to establish such a combo venue. Relocating would provide lots of parking, especially drive-throughs. Also, this would not only enhance the Penfield route, but provide full and part-time employment to all year. 3, a seniors complex. Was advised after December 17th meeting that the building behind the Wesleyan Church in Blacks Harbor was to be made into apartments. We have no problem with having more apartments, especially for the younger generation. What about the 2 vacant buildings, Old Hospital and the 260 building, which are privately owned, which have become an eyesore and not being developed? Could these not be completed into apartments, thus reducing the rental shortage? What is urgently needed is a senior complex. Again, the Development Committee could investigate another area other than Blacks Harbor where higher property taxes and poor drinking water is an issue. A recommended area could be in Penfield after you pass the mountain road on the right in the field. I believe this is not in the village limits and with a drilled well could have great water. This location could be a great ideal for a seniors complex, overlooking the bay, providing lots of parking, employment, as well as a beautification area. The complex would have a waiting list from seniors in the area, where presently there are many retirees. As you can see by the following chart, Penfield population is higher than St. George, Blacks Harbor, Beaver Harbor, etc. It's obvious that the Penfield property and tax revenue are much greater than St. George revenues. Some of the Penfield venues include Tim Hortons, Home Hardware, Uncle Main's, Subway, CCM Enterprises, Pharma Choice, Revenue Canada, Camo's, Harbor Road Pub, Irving, Station, etc. The population status. Penfield, estimate in 2025 was 2,478. Consensus 2021, 2,252, a growth of 226. St. George, estimate 2025 was 1,579. Consensus 2021 was 1,517, a growth of 62. Blacks Harbor consensus 2021, 907, and Beaver Harbor consensus 2021 was 291. In conclusion, a lot of people would like to see more development in Penfield, not only servicing the local and upcoming populations as well as the tourists. Thank you for understanding our concerns. We hope our request will warrant a positive outcome for the citizens within our municipality. Sincerely, Gordon and Teresa Gadet.
Thank you very much, Councilor McKay. I appreciate that, doing that tonight. That's a long letter, but, we appreciate the letter coming from Teresa Gadet tonight. Deputy Mayor, you were going to say something? I see your hand jumping there.
Well, there's one, I don't know if this has to be a point of information but in her letter, she states Tim Hortons, Home Hardware, Uncle Main's, Subway, CCM Enterprises, Pharma Choice, Revenue Canada are part of Penfield. They are not. They're part of Fundy Bay. Mm-hmm. So just as a point, I don't want, we know that, but the general public may not. So, so just as, I guess, a clarification.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments on the letter? Would council like to do that? Would you like to refer that to maybe our economic development person to take a look at it, or what would you like to do with that too?
I'll say yes, it should go to our economic development.
Yeah, Lori Kelly?
Lori, that's dealing with
So
that.
we have a motion on the floor to send that letter off to her. We need a seconder for that. Councilor Dedirakis, you're going to second that. Question or comment?
I do have a comment on it, though. A lot of times when, and Lori can back this up, a lot of times when investors come in, the first thing that they want is water and sewage inside of a municipality, and that's a lot of times that's what ends up happening, unless a private developer wants to buy the land and put well and big septics and stuff in. But I know being part of council for quite a few years now, that's usually one of the major deciding factors that comes into them. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, just stating a comment.
Good. Any other comments, questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and it's passed unanimously. That brings us to public presentation appearances. At this point, council, please note under bylaw EC-01, section 7.1, members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. I ask you to begin by giving your name and civic address for the record. We'll also add to that, during that time, I cannot tolerate or allow anybody to make accusations against anybody on any subject that works for Eastern Charlotte or any members of council or anybody else for that matter. If that happens, I have to stop you and you'll be escorted out. So thank you for the opportunity,
Hey,
Hey.
my name's Matthew Hall. I'm a resident of Ward 4, and I have a few items I want to bring up tonight.
Sure.
I'm hoping the bigger items won't take away from the smaller items. But yeah, so first, we We got a date set for the Macadavic River Race, Saturday, April 18th. It's right here in our backyard on the Macadavic River. It is New Brunswick's only whitewater specific paddling race. It might be the only paddling race in the province, but I know for sure it's the only whitewater.
What was, okay, just, I know you're not supposed to ask, could you just tell me that date again?
Saturday, April 19th, or 18th.
Okay, thank you.
Last year was their first time. We had people travel all the way from Bathurst and Moncton. The group that came down from Moncton came down. They loved it so much they spent like 4 different weekends last spring paddling the river. Like we do have something special here. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. So if you'd like to volunteer, you can reach out to me through Facebook, Matthew Hall, or the event page, Macadavic River Race. If you don't want to volunteer and you want to come out and participate, just grab your canoe and kayak and sign on up, and we'd love to have you. I also started a trail running group that aims to meet at least once a week in Eastern Charlotte. You can find us on Facebook. It's called Eastern Charlotte Trail Runners. No one gets left behind, and our weeknight runs are about 5-ish kilometers, and our weekend runs are a little bit longer, try to aim around 10 kilometers. And there was questions about the trails being groomed and stuff. We ran it Tuesday night after all the snow we had, and the river trail was perfect. It couldn't get any better. So the more serious items, I've been given some communications that I received through a right to information submission. I'm upset to find some of the information I've been able to sift through. Emails related to childcare about our former MLA attempting to help speed up the childcare facility in our community. Those emails were met with hostility from some. Emails included calling her a glory hog and their distrust in her.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop you there, Matt. I'm gonna have to stop you there.
These are emails.
Yeah,
that
I
are
realize
quoted.
that. I realize that also, but I can't have you reading out something that our tip of items.
If I can't talk about this, it's going to be posted online.
You do what you wish, but not
Okay.
not tonight.
Okay, so anyways, if Charlotte County TV wants to talk about this more, I can talk afterwards. Let's see. All I can say is I don't care what you guys' provincial politics are. When the politician wants to help make change and do better for the community, you guys need to do better and need to work with whoever it is. I've also done my due diligence and received information from the province showing that this was actually going to happen. Like, what she brought forward was true. So anyways, 2 years after these emails were submitted by her, we're still left without childcare facilities in Eastern Charlotte to help fill this void you guys are working towards. The fire underwriter survey has recently been updated for the village of Blacks Harbor. Previous of April 2025, it didn't show any fire department, any fire hydrants, nothing in the village. Insurance rates were then a lot higher for residents and for commercial properties and businesses. I can't talk about the specifics, I guess, of my RTIPAs, but after months of the fire underwriter survey, people trying to reach out to receive the information, they were unsuccessful receiving it from a company. Meanwhile, they were able to go off of secondary information, and I'm glad that that has impacted insurance rates for residents, myself being one of them. So it's nice to see that there is a positive change, but rates could have been a lot lower potentially if they were giving the accurate information directly from the source. So for residents of Blacks, if you want to reach out to your insurance companies and ask for a prorate to see if the updated survey helps lower your insurance, I highly recommend that. Oh, okay. So some information about your guys' questions about the water system. 150,000 gallons a day is what the village is entitled to in the contract. If the pumps run at full operations, it's between 800 and 900,000 gallons a day. And if you look behind the farm reservoir, there's a ditch with a significantly high water line from discharging water from the reservoir itself. Water, take a look. And also, I'm extremely disappointed in the way that code of conduct complaints have been happening in the municipality and how they've been happening behind closed doors. I think that's all my time.
Great,
So,
thank you. Thank you very much. All right, anybody else? You have, I don't have a timer on these.
Greg Fleming, Route 176, Penfield. One of the meetings I attended this month, I was impressed to see that we are utilizing the OWL. This device allows us to stream the meetings from the location for participants to be in the discussion, as well as allowing meetings to be recorded. This made me feel like council was doing their part to address issues and concerning transparency and making information readily available, as well as looking for more potential participation from the community. During that meeting, it was used to allow someone to join from home and speak, which was great. When I inquired about the recording the next day, I was disappointed to find out that it was not used to its full potential and the meeting was not recorded. This is a huge missed opportunity in my mind. There are some councils in the area where this is the only way they can post their meetings, and they do this for both the regular meeting as well as their committee of whole. This would be great for when CHCO TV is not available, allowing the public to stay informed, and if not able to attend, additionally, this can be allowed to allow council to have a full quorum. I know there's times where you guys are away, you're in meetings or on vacation, what have you. But if you had the means and you were available, it allows you guys to jump in via remotely and still have your full quorum. As a taxpayer of Eastern Charlotte, I challenge the council and CAO to have the OWL at every public meeting, regular community of the whole, public hearings, etc., that are open to the public that aren't a closed-door meeting. This will allow more public engagement. The meetings can be posted online and available to anybody who cannot make a meeting. With policy 9025, a lot of the meeting was not at this, and a lot of us were blindsided by it. If we had these meetings recorded, then we would have known in advance, and I think things could have been addressed more appropriately and went a lot smoother. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Greg. Anybody else tonight? Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, that moves us along to what does it move us along to? Statements by members of council. I'm going to go to my right tonight. I'm going to go to Councilor McKay first. Oh, sorry, Councilor Ted. Sorry, I forgot you, Councilor. You're first.
I would just like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Don't have too much. In regards to communication, I guess I have an item. From the communication from, I guess, from the provincial level back down to the municipal level, I think there's some issues there. And one comes right to mind is the announcement of the enhanced appointments, I guess, at the Fundy Health Center. We had, I, as a counselor, read that online, like everyone else, and was surprised that there was an enhancement to that service. When we had reached out, I believe, via letter through our CAO to the minister, we've got a reply back. I don't know if it was the same day or a day before or a day after that announcement that basically thanked us for contacting them. Any communication would come from the, I think, the local committee in the area back to the municipality, but I certainly, as a counselor, didn't have that information. I don't think anybody around this table had that information in advance of the announcement that we seen online. So the communication issue there's a communication gap. I know the Premier has been in other municipalities across this province, quite close to us, actually, but not here. So I don't know what we have to do to make that outreach, but I think the communication between the municipal and the provincial level has to improve in this area, because as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, we're getting left behind here. And there's been no communication since I've been on this council, very limited, other than, I guess we had the Minister of Health, and we did meet with the Minister of Transportation when we went up there, and he was receptive to us, but there's been a communication gap, I believe.
Great. I think Councilor McKay.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm going to go to my far left, Councilor Dedireckus. You're writing a book over there.
There's so much I want to say, but I'll start with this first. First, I want to say that I'm grateful to Red Cross, Extramural, the Eastern Charlotte Fire Department, along with several other fire departments in our region, EMO, the RCMP, Ambulance New Brunswick, Public Works, and our CAO, Jason Gadet, for their response on January 4th to the fires at the Seniors Complex in St. George. I would also like to sincerely thank all the community groups and local businesses and volunteers who have stepped up to support and assist those who were displaced. Second thing is, there is a municipal election around the corner taking place in May. So between now and then, this is a great opportunity to learn more about what's involved in serving on council, the responsibilities of a municipality, and how you can run in the upcoming election. You may feel that your voice doesn't matter or voting doesn't make a difference, but it does. And there's no way to prove that than by getting involved. Mr. Fleming, you had mentioned about the owl. I think it's a fantastic device. And for example, I was thinking that this could have been used for our budget discussions, for example, because not everyone is able to make those meetings, but they will be able to, review them at their own convenience and then provide feedback to their respected counselors. So yeah, I think it's a great tool that we have it. It's the next step is like, how do we actually use it to its full capacity? And you mentioned like recording committee of the whole meetings. That's a great idea. I think that's something that would have to be amended. We just amended a portion of the committee. I think we actually created a committee of a whole section, so that could be amended again, and then we can add that that those meetings can be recorded. This is more of something just to say aloud, but I have a question for our mayor as well. I saw that the Regional Service Commission is circulating a survey online about a potential airport in St. Stephen, which is incredible news for them. But I was wondering, we're talking about this topic of economic development in Penfield. Why wasn't the Penfield Airport considered? It's privately owned? Okay.
I'm not sure. This is something the Service Commission sent out, so I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
About it. I know there's been a lot of talk about the St. Stephen one, trying to extend the existing airport in St. Stephen, the existing one, trying to make it bigger and better. And of course, with that comes a price tag as well too. So who's going to pay for it, and that sort of thing. There's probably a huge. But what they're trying to do is find out more how many people would use it, that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, right now, I think St. Stephen's the only one that actually pays for it. So if other areas want to get involved too, it's going to cost. Everything you do is cost money.
Absolutely, yeah. And the last thing I want to say is, Councillor Tidd, you mentioned about communication with other stakeholders, our provincial partners. Yeah, it's something that is an ongoing thing that we have to be working on, right? Like, I know that we had reached out to the Minister of Health. He had presented to us. I think we're still waiting a meeting with him as well. But we just have to keep shaking the tree, and the squeaky wheel truly does get the grease. So just don't be scared. Not to say that anyone's scared at this table, but like, don't be shy to yell and scream and shake the tree and to get what we want. Because there's a lot of things that we need in this area, and we need some investments, and the only way that's going to work is if we actually work together. So with our provincial and our federal leaders. Thank you.
I'm going to go to Councillor Hatt.
I guess my only thing I have is childcare is near and dear. I think as much work has gone into this childcare building project that's gone on for years and years. If we would have just made a decision originally to build a new one out in that parking lot and knock down the walls and barriers that come, whether it's funding, whether it's fundraising, etc., it would probably be open by now. It's just so bad that it takes so long to get anything done.
I'm going to go to Councillor Thompson. Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight. Communications-wise, yeah, we all need help, and we need to be more interactive, I guess. Council also needs a heads up on events and such. We got accused at a meeting here not too long ago of not attending an event, not supporting our mayor. We have lives and jobs too, I guess, is the problem, but a lot of times we don't know what the mayor's attending. He gets invited to private, like, that's the mayor's job, to be our public face, so we can't attend everything that he does, just, we're not privy to all that information, so I guess it's not that we don't care, it's just, it's not part of our job description.
Okay, that brings us to the date and location of our next regular meeting of council, and that's going to be on Wednesday, February the 18th at 7 p.m. right here at Macadavic Place. At this time, I'll look for a motion for adjournment. Councillor McKay, thank you very much. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes before we start the other one?
We haven't.